I'd now like to call upon Anushka Yadav from the IIS University to share her experience. Let's welcome her with a round of applause.
Our guests we invite, our students we force.
Okay, so wow.
First of all, I would like to thank Ramika ma'am, Bhavna ma'am and Radhika ma'am for giving us this opportunity. And I would like to encourage the students, our juniors, to please participate in this program since these people are amazing. You get to know so much about their culture. I mean, every day we used to sit, I didn't have much interaction with all of them, but the little interactions that you have gives so much to you. I mean, just like today, in the morning we had a discussion on gender-based discussion. So we got to know it's not just in India that we have gender differences, it's everywhere. We keep blaming our country that we have gender differences. It's everywhere, and I mean, these are independent, strong women, and I mean, I'm so inspired by these women who are sitting here. And Cecil, the guy you are looking at right now, he is one person who has inspired me to live my life and just be fun to be around. So yeah, I mean, this experience is something, apart from all the difficult times that we've been through, it was one hell of an experience. So thank you guys for coming, and I hope that you come again, and yeah, we're going to miss you.
Thank you, Anushka, for putting forth your views. We now have Rituparna to share her experience.
Hello everyone. While you keep talking how, welcoming we are and how our hospitality, seems to impress you, well, I would like to say that the way you, way you quickly accept things and you're ready to, open to everything, it's just really, I really admire that. I mean, you are open to everything we've, put you through, and the mountaineering experience, our own volunteers were like, okay, no, not that, and you were like, let's do this. That is what is really, that has really inspired us and everything, and all the times we had the quick interaction, the quick connection we made, I mean, it was really, it was hard to believe that you can, communicate and connect with someone over such a short period. And you guys were really fun. I'm going to miss all of you. I mean, we all are going to miss all of you, and it was fun to be with you. And come again, please.
Thank you, Rituparna.
In case if there's anyone else who wants to.
Yes, definitely. So if anyone else wants to share their experience, please come forward.
Okay.
Come.
Hello. I just want to add what I totally agree with everything that they said. One thing I would like to add is that we belong to different countries, different cultures. We are being brought up different way, are bringing a different, but yet we feel so much connected on that in that way, which is really, I think, which is really appreciable. And this is something I will cherish. This experience is I'll cherish a whole of my life. And I had really some of the best moments with you guys. Keep in touch, and we really love you.
Thank you, Riddhi. As everyone said, just to sum up our feelings, we definitely miss you all, and we hope that if you can't come again, we definitely will. Even if you don't want to, we will be there with you guys. So, yeah, moving on. Now, I think with this we come to the end of our cultural program. I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Ashok Gupta, for giving us this platform through the IIS University to interact with our American counterparts. I would also like to thank Dr. Bhavna Arya, Dr. Radhika Sharma, who is not here right today, and also Dr. Rimika Singhvi for giving us this fantastic opportunity.
Thank the audience for being here because now they may leave.
Alright, so we also thank the audience for being this patient, and now you all can proceed for your classes if at all you have any.
Go back to your classes. Thank you so much for coming. But for the audience, no program is successful. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I am Holi Nair and this is my co-mate Chelsea, and we will be talking about, as you can see, the LGBT community. Few might be aware of this term and few might not, so we are here to introduce you to this term and the aspects related to this LGBT community. We will start with Chelsea.
Okay, so this is by no means comprehensive. I will repeat, not comprehensive, because we tried to make it as brief as possible. But I tried to just break down what the acronym stands for, at least the one that most people are familiar with. I hope that this is not new to most people. L stands for lesbian, G stands for gay, B stands for bisexual, T stands for transgender, Q stands for queer, which can also, it can kind of encompass the whole community as well. Maybe another way of saying LGBT, to say I'm a queer individual. A can stand for asexual, but these terms can also stand for other things. So there's a plus, which I'm going to say like LGBTA, well, LGBTQA+++. It encompasses a whole ton of people. Are there any questions on what these identities mean, or are we good? Okay. So Honi and I decided to just do a timeline of sorts to demonstrate where the U.S. has gone in the past century and where India has been in terms of rights and protections, assaults, what have you. I'm not going to read all of this because you guys can read, but essentially the first documented gay rights organization in the U.S. at least starts in like 1924, but of course there had been groups beforehand and these individuals did exist. U.S. Congress in the 1950s was not the most accepting of LGBT people, and they thought that homosexuality was considered a security risk. We have other gay rights organizations coming up during this time period, and the big fact that most people tend to latch onto in terms of the United States is that the American Psychiatric Association, the APA, defined homosexuality as a mental illness back in the 1950s when it released its diagnostic manual, which basically, I'm assuming there's probably one here for India as well, which just delineates all of the mental disorders, the characteristics of each, and it listed homosexuality as an illness in that. During that time, the president also banned all gay individuals from employment in the federal government. 1950s, we also see the rise of a lesbian rights organization and a transsexual counseling unit formed as well. So these are great instances of groups of people coming together and organizing, standing up for protections against hate against their identities. The Stonewall Riots, most people are really familiar with this incident in the United States. I'm not sure if you are in India. Stonewall Inn is basically a bar in New York, and it was a great place of gathering for a lot of gay individuals, and it would always be raided by the police because there weren't any protections on the book at this time. And in this particular instance, the gay community said, no, we're not going to do this, and they rioted for 3 days long. 1970s, we're starting to see things get a little better in the U.S. Homosexuality was no longer declared an illness in the DSM. We have the first openly lesbian public official elected office. But then, of course, when you have progress, you always have people pushing back as well. too much progress, and somebody would say, whoa, nope, not going to happen. So here we have Proposition 6, which was proposed in California, and it was going, at least at the time when it was introduced, to fire any teacher that supported gay rights. It was defeated, however. We have organizations marching. Where's the noise coming from? We have organizations coming together and marching on Washington. 1980s is when AIDS, I don't know if you guys are familiar, yeah, I think actually you are. I remember reading about this. AIDS, like swept the United States in 1980s, 1990s, up until 1981, though, nobody was really like talking about it. New York Times reports about it, and then we see 24,000 people dying due to HIV/AIDS. A lot of people in the LGBT community. Government's not doing anything. We have advocacy groups coming together and saying, whoa, like, you need to educate yourselves, and the government needs to do stuff because this is really terrible. And it wasn't, I think it wasn't until like 1988 that the president actually acknowledged that AIDS was an epidemic in the United States. 1993, we have Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I don't know if anyone's familiar with this in India. It was a policy instituted by President Clinton at the time, which is basically saying that you can be gay or lesbian and serve in the military, but as long as you don't tell people that you are, it's fine. We also have the Defense of Marriage Act coming into law at this time as well, which was saying that marriage can only be between a man and a woman. We have Matthew Shepard was a really big case, 1990s. He was beaten to death. Don't Ask, Don't Tell was finally repealed in 2010. 2013 Defense of Marriage Act was ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. And then just last year was a really great victory for the United States because this is what was considered to be the legalization of gay marriage. And of course, it was also during this year that a lot of transgender women got killed, though. And then this year, we've had this problem with North Carolina saying that if you're transgender, you can't use the bathroom that you identify with. So, with progress, there's always pushback. That's all I have. Thank you.
I don't know mine. Okay. We all heard about US, the scenario in US, and you might connect to it because in India also we don't have a broad pathway made for the now I'm sure you all are aware of the LGBT community. Yes? Okay. So as we might think that in overseas or in foreign countries these people are being accepted very well, or these kind of relationships are encouraged there. But yes, after Chelsea's presentation, we got to see that even in USA, people has to struggle and suffer to while admitting that they belong to maybe LGBT community. And yes, coming to India, we all are aware of it that India has a very a non-accepting behavior towards the LGBT community people. So before, like maybe since the 19th century, the LGBT community people, like the population under this community were not allowed to, did not have the freedom to have all the, to avail all the rights, the common rights that all other people have, like right to educate or right to speak, or maybe any other special facilities, because they did not belong to a normal community where a girl can marry a boy or a boy can marry a girl. Just because they had a different liking towards the same-sex people. And as you can see here, 2009 Delhi High Court decision a section 377 was made where they said the direct violation of fundamental rights provided by the Indian Constitution. Okay, so during the 1860s, the government said that these people under this community has no right to avail any facilities given by the government to any other people. But then, during 2009, the question was raised that the government says that everybody in this country has right to speak and right to choice. So what about that? Even people, if they belong to India, if they are Indian citizens, then even they have the right to speak and the right to express whatever and however they are. So then there was a debate between the government people there. Then during 2012, central government reversed its stand on 28 February 2012, asserting that there was no legal error in this. Again, like even after having debates and discussions on this, the government was again on the same point, saying that no, that we did not do anything wrong. Our decision of not giving them to enjoy their rights is all correct because they don't belong to a normal community. So then, after 2012, again this resulted in two judges of Supreme Court. They had a court reprimanding the central government for frequently changing its stand on the issues. And the statements were made like don't make a mockery of the system and don't waste the court's time and yours, because they thought this is not important at all. Then 2015 on December, Shashi Tharoor, we all are aware of this name, a member of National Indian Congress Party, he introduced a bill for the discriminalization of section 377. But the bill was again rejected by the House of Vote. They had a voting there, and then again Shashi Tharoor had took a stand for the people belonging to that community. But again, there were many people against him to suppress him and his views. So again, there were no benefits done for those people. Then 2016, the Supreme Court decided to review criminalization of homosexual activities. Then in Kerala, mooted free sex reassignment surgeries. Okay, so now after 2015, there was a raise of hope for people belonging to that community, and Kerala was the first state to introduce free sex reassignment surgeries. So I think we all might not know what the term means. This means that the person, if a guy or a girl wants to have a surgery to change the gender, so he or she can go for it, and there were no legal offence made on that. So Kerala was the first place to serve free surgeries to the people. Is it clear what the term now means?
Yes.
Okay. Then on 26th June, Supreme Court upheld the Sodomy Law. So basically Kerala was the first place at that time to accept these people and to treat them as the normal ones as well. Now coming to recognition of same-sex relationships. The name says itself. As the gays and the lesbians were not, neither of them were supported ever. But then after 2016, after Kerala giving the free surgery, starting up with the free surgery assignment, then even Gurgaon came up, and there the law was passed saying that the people with same gender can get married. After a lot of fights and debates, Gurgaon court decided that yes, two girls or males can get married. And there happened an incident where two girls wanted to get married, and they took a stand against the society, and then they fought in the court, and maybe they won. And then what happened when they started living, after they got married, the people in Gurgaon, it was not as developed as any other place. So people in Gurgaon, they started harassing them. despite of having the legal permission, the people, the panchayat in Gurgaon, they did not let those two women stay together, and then they were being threatened by saying that you will have to leave this place, you cannot live here, because there the in rural areas the population there had more dominance over maybe the government. Transgenders, again we know the term. What does that mean? Then again, Tamil Nadu and Kerala in India was the first state to introduce a transgender welfare policy. Then in 2016 again Kerala started implementing free, as I said, free sex reassignment surgeries through government hospitals. And then we know, this is about the transgenders, we know in India the term to name them is called as hijras, and they were legally granted voting rights after this. So previously, as I began with my presentation, I said they were not allowed to enjoy the normal rights that any other people had. So then now in 2016 they had the voting right and the right to acquire education, and then again the government after that they declared the population to be minor, they were considered as minorities, and so they got the maybe the advantage of the reservations, because now they were the minorities, so they had the facility to avail whether it may be public transports or educational areas or hospitals, etc. So yeah, that is it.
Thank you so much, Chelsea and Honi, for letting us know the details of the LGBT community. We now have with us Vrinda and Rituparna for their presentation.
Hi, I'm Vrinda.
Hello guys, I'm Rituparna.
We're going to do women in cinema down the ages, starting from the 1940s.
Okay, so basically our presentation has been based by observing a series of patterns consisting the differences and similarities between the West cinema, that is the Hollywood cinema, and the East cinema, which is the Bollywood cinema. So we have taken, we have divided the eras into various decades, and we call the individual decade as a certain era because each era has contributed towards the progress and towards the evolution of the cinema, both in East and the West. So yeah, each era is divided into decades represented by one famous actress and her most popular work. The most popular work which influenced most people. Women in early times were not encouraged to participate in cinemas. The feminine roles were even played by the males. The males only used to climb up the stage and they used to, perform the women roles too. This practice changed majorly during the 1940s when the leading ladies started believing in grabbing the opportunity and started coming onto the stage. So this is Mumtaz Shanti from Bollywood. Her most famous work of art was Kismet, and Judy Garland from Hollywood, her most famous work was Wizard of Oz.
So with the times, the roles of women started to leap too. And this was not just like their simple roles, it became more active, and it was not just starting to be the focus of men in the roles. Women became more of not just a supporting actress. So in the 50s we had Nargis, her famous movie is Mother India, and then in the 50s in Hollywood we had Marilyn Monroe. So one of her famous ones was Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. And so she was like, I know Marilyn Monroe is a huge icon, she's still super famous in the US.
Nargis also earned Oscar for her film. The next era comes with a decent mix of tradition with a contemporary as the role of women in the media. The actresses in this era were powerful young women who helped encourage the participation of women in cinema. We had Madhubala in Bollywood, who was famous for her role of Anarkali in Mughal-e-Azam. Then there was Audrey Hepburn for Hollywood, and her famous work of art was Breakfast at Tiffany's.
So the age of experiments and the role of women in cinema began from the next era. The actresses in this era were females who took the bold steps to use their grace and to have a respectful image of women in cinema. So in this era we have Rekha and Imral Jan and Olivia Newton-John in Grace.
The idea of role of women in cinema was already set up till this era, and the actresses of the following decade were more focused on gaining popularity for women's role in the cinema. So we had Madhuri Dixit for her famous movie Tezab during the 1980s, and Molly Ringwald for The Breakfast Club, which is not, unknown to anyone.
Just something to point out, especially from this onwards for the rest of the slide, you'll really notice that our actresses look very similar. The style, the face, the makeup, it's all becoming more similar and less differences between Hollywood and Bollywood. So you'll really notice this from the 80s onwards.
It basically presents the inclination of Bollywood towards the Hollywood cinema. And now the next following era saw more powerful projection of women, not only in cinema but in other avenues too. Actresses who owned this era were known worldwide for their skill, versatility as well as beauty. We had Aishwarya Rai in the 1990s, and her famous work of art was Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam. She also won the Miss World title, and she is the most famous Miss World till far. Then we had Julia Roberts in Hollywood, and her famous work of art was Pretty Woman.
Also, the best part is we didn't pick actresses